On every single video I post, you guys have been blowing up my comments asking how I met Edo. So today I'm gonna be sharing with you how I met my Italian butcher boyfriend while I drink my morning cappuccino. It's a really cute story. For those of you that don't know, my name is Shani. I am currently 23 years old and I live half in Italy, half in America, but I'm moving there full time. Anyway, what you guys all wanna know, how I met my Italian boyfriend. It was February 22nd, 2022, and it was a Tuesday. And I remember that day so vividly because it was the day that was 2/22/2022, and it was a Tuesday. And I was like, oh, how funny is this? I was doing a study abroad semester at Temple University, Rome. I lived with 5 other girls in a small little apartment, and we had a group of guy friends that was 7 guys, and they lived right down the street. We very quickly became each other's family, and so about once every 2 weeks we would host these family dinners where I would cook for all of the people and your entry fee was a bottle of wine. I was always trying to make local Roman dishes, and I really wanted to try and learn how to make authentic Italian foods. Like, I'm in Italy, when am I ever gonna have that opportunity again? And so this particular Tuesday was my roommate's birthday, and so she had mentioned that she wanted to try meat from the local butcher shop down the street. When you go out of my apartment, you make a right, you walk 500 feet, you're at this butcher shop. So on our way home from school, we stopped in the butcher shop. This is 2022, so COVID is still going on. It was way different than America, and we actually had to wear masks even on the street at that point, even if you were outside. So we're in the butcher shop, and I see this young guy behind the counter with his mask about here, and I was like, oh, he's so cute. We just had this sort of look exchange from our eyes, because we were still like this, right? Like, I couldn't even see his whole face, but I could tell that he was really cute. And we exchanged a few words. He was speaking to me in a sort of broken English, and I explained that I was making carbonara, I needed pecorino romano cheese, I needed pasta, I need guanciale, and he helped me out, checked me out. And then when we left the shop, I said to my 2 friends that I was with, I'm gonna go on a date with that man. I'm a firm believer in putting things out into the universe and they'll come back to you, but did I ever actually expect that to happen? No. I was high on life in that moment, and I just said it for the plot. Over the course of the next couple weeks, I went into his shop about 4 or 5 times, and sometimes he would be there, sometimes he wouldn't. On the 4th or 5th time I went in, he was there and he helped me, and I tried making small conversation with him. Oh, so you speak English? And he was like, yeah. Okay. Are you in school? No. After I had tried asking him these questions and I got such short responses, I was like, okay, this guy's clearly not interested. Like, it was in my head. He finishes checking me out and he hands me a card. And on this card with his phone number and his name and a little smiley face. And he gives it to me and he's like, if you ever need anything. So I walk back to my apartment and I'm literally like freaking out. Like, oh my God, like it wasn't in my head. Like, wow, this is totally where I got him. When he gave me his card, it was a day before one of my best friends was coming to visit me for spring break. And then the week after was my birthday, and the week after my sister was coming to visit me. So I had 2 or 3 weeks of just pure and utter chaos that I didn't have time to text him. I get back from all my trips, travels, and fun, and then I texted him about 3 weeks after he gave me his business card. And he was like, hi, like, I didn't think you were interested. Like, I was waiting. And I'm like, But we start texting a little bit and he tells me that he wants to take me out, and obviously I'm so down for that. So he takes me on 4 magical dates over the next few weeks that totally just changed my life. He picks me up for our first date and he took me to Italy, which holds such a special place in my heart now. And it's funny enough because that's actually so close to where we live now, but I didn't know that at the time. And for those of you that don't know what Italy is, it is a big grocery store. But it is so cool because everything inside of it comes from a different region in Italy, and you can read about the products and where they're from and why they're such high quality, like on signs all around the place. They also have 3 or 4 different restaurants and bars inside this grocery store and a cooking school. So he's a butcher. I love to cook, and food is like 100% my love language. So him taking me to a grocery store for our first date was like perfect for me. And we get a bottle of wine, we eat a 3-course meal. I remember I had spaghetti with a burrata on top. We get fried anchovies, and like I didn't like anchovies, but I was like, I'm not gonna fuck this up. Like, I need to eat these anchovies. Regardless, the dinner was phenomenal. He was telling me how he loved vintage things and he wears this bracelet from 1912 and how he's so close with his family. The dinner was amazing, and afterwards he was driving me back to my house and we stopped in this piazza. There is a little hole that you can look through and it's a gorgeous view of St. Peter's Basilica. So we pull up in this piazza. There are 2 cars with their headlights on and people standing outside of the cars. And I was like, okay, this is where I'm dead, right? Like, this is where I'm gonna die, because it was so scary. Turns out he didn't know these people. But I see this beautiful view. I'm like, oh my God, this was amazing. He takes me home. That's it. Date number 2, he picks me up on the Vespa. Literally, my roommates are peeking out the window, like watching me drive away on the Vespa. It was such a Lizzie McGuire moment. And I was like, oh my God. And then he takes me to a traditional Roman trattoria. And a trattoria is usually where you can get really good local dishes. And he makes me try all of these typical Roman dishes. So I tried liver and intestines and tripe and all of these things. And I was like, Shannon, you need to eat these things. I was scared, okay? In America, we don't really be eating all of those things, but I had to stomach it. I had to do it. We have this delicious meal. After the dinner, we walk over to the island that is on the Tiber River, and he's like, this is where I was born. This man was born in the center of Rome, in a hospital, on an island. And it is just like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. So we're just walking around it and it's like so magical, looking at the stars. And he gives me a kiss and I was like, ah. And he's like, I would have loved to wait a few more dates to kiss you, but I know you're leaving in like soon. So honey, kiss me, please, please. That was amazing. Date 3 of the 4. This date was probably one of my favorite dates ever. This date is ingrained in my mind to a T, and it's really when I realized, like, oh my goodness, this guy is not like any guy I've ever dated before. Just the sheer planning of this date, men, take notes. Little bit of context, I am a balloon artist. I have been doing it for about 7 years now, and I've owned my own business for 5. This man picks me up from my university on the Vespa. He takes me to a little market. We walk around, we do some vintage shopping for about 20 minutes, and then we walk over to a balloon museum. He took me to a balloon museum exhibit in Rome. So it's me, him, and then a bunch of moms with their kids and little families running around. We go in the ball pit. We're taking pictures here. We're looking at all the cool sculptures. He's hyping me up, saying, you could do better. I'm like, I know. No, I'm just kidding. It was really, really cool. So the fact that this man heard me say I'm a balloon artist and then took me to a balloon museum, it's like, wow, you didn't just hear what I said. You internalized it. You thought, you planned, like, what a perfect date. I had the best time. So after a little bit of time at the balloon museum, we take the Vespa, we go over to a cat bistro. We sip on hot tea, eat desserts while there's cats running around us, you know, coming up to us, purring, sitting on my lap, and we're coloring in a coloring book. This date might not sound like much to you, but it was the most me date I could have planned in my life. Also, what man wants to do these things? Like, I was so in love. I was like, are you joking? There's no way this man is real right now. I had the best time, and then he took me home. Every day, he was so respectful, he didn't try anything, and he really just listened to me and planned these amazing dates. It was fantastic. Date number 3 was amazing. Okay, on to date number 4, Tuscany. So he had explained to me on some of the past dates that he had a house in Tuscany and he really wanted to bring me. And it's very close to something called Saturnia, which is this river that is naturally heated with sulfur. So it's hot water that flows into these gorgeous pools. And the water is like a crystal blue green. It's such a beautiful color. So his day off from work used to be Mondays, so we went a Sunday to a Monday and we stayed over. So on our way up to Tuscany, it's about an hour and a half from where I'm living, and on our way we stop at this really cool art park. A big sculpture garden made by this really awesome artist. One of the pictures paneled out is this love story, and we're just reading it. He's reading it to me in Italian. I'm like falling in love. Like, it was great. It was amazing. So we get back in the car, we keep driving, and the way that Tuscany is built is that it is rolling hills, and at the top of these hills, there are little towns built up with usually a castle or a tower at the top. Now we can see his town in the distance, and at the top he's like, oh, that's where we're going. I had no idea what to expect. I was just like, yeah, I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the plot. Whatever happens, happens. So we're driving up this little town called Manciano, and we drive all the way up to the top, and he starts backing up. And I'm like, where are we going? He drives up this staircase. It's literally an angled staircase. I would never have guessed that a car can drive up it. He drives to the top, parks the car, and is like, we're here. This is a castle. There is a castle there. No, he doesn't own the castle. He owns the house next to the castle that shares the wall. He shows me his house. It is the most gorgeous, cute, beautiful, like, view of, oh my God. I was completely flabbergasted. It was a gorgeous view. We watched the sunset. I could not believe that I was standing with this gorgeous man in a beautiful place. And he's like, yeah, I just have this. Like, excuse me, sir, you're a butcher. Like, what? What? We go to dinner, 3 courses, wine, some of the best food I've ever had in my life, which is so funny because looking back on this all, like that, the restaurant we went to is called Trattoria di Paolino, and we go there all the time. And now I know Paulino and I know Sabrina, I know the owners, like I bring tourists there. It's just funny how life works out. And then the next day he takes me to Saturnia, to the hot water, we get lunch, we shower, we go home. I had to get back for school. When I say I was on a high like no other, just I was living in a fairy tale. I was like, how is this real? I could literally talk about this forever, but I'm gonna cut it there. That was our first 4 dates. In my next video, I'll get into, you know, what happened after those 4 dates, him coming to visit me in America, and ultimately us making the decision to be together almost a year later. But it was so magical, I can't even lie, and I'm so happy now. So thank you guys so much for all of your questions, and thanks for watching. Ciao!